Hey, Renter Retires, it's Adam Schroeder here, and today we're going to talk about the tenant trap that too many investors fall into. Alright, before we get started, I want to remind everybody, subscribe to our YouTube channel, click the notifications bell, get notified every single time we put out one of these videos that we try to help you be the best investor you can possibly be. We really appreciate you spending the time watching our videos, and at the end of the video, if you've liked it, go ahead and show the world and click the like button so that everybody else can know that it's a video worth watching. We really appreciate the time you're spending putting into making sure you're the best investor you can possibly be as you go through this journey. At the end of the video, don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below and we will get to them as soon as possible. So let's get to it. What is this tenant trap I'm talking about? Well, there's a tenant trap that way too many investors get into, and I want you to break the cycle. And that is, simply put, when the investor wants there to be a tenant in place before they go under contract or close the property. And look, I know that's ideal, but the fact is, some investors get so caught up in having that tenant in place, they'll take a property that's of a lesser state than one that's vacant, just because there's already a tenant in place. And let me tell you why that's not such a good thing. Number one, having the tenant in place hurts the ability to actually do the inspection. When the inspector goes into the house, preferably, you want it to be completely empty. You want them to be able to see every single square inch of that property. They can go in, they can get more in depth, they can see every part of the wall. They can make sure that all of the utilities are running and everything is just as it should be. When there's a tenant there, obviously their stuff blocks some of the things. They may miss things that they would have otherwise caught. They might feel a little more rushed because they don't want to be disrupting the tenant's life any longer than they have to. The fact of the matter is, when it comes time to actually buying the house, you do not want to be rushed in any way, shape, or form. You don't want anything blocking you from getting the best job done in your due diligence that you can possibly get. So that's one reason why. But a bigger thing is, think about it. If there's a tenant in place before you even start the purchase process, because that's what you want, that means they've been living there a while. And if they've been living there a little while, you don't know exactly what has been done or harmed along the way since the rehab was done. Maybe they've been living there 6 months, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 3 years. You don't really know. But the fact of the matter is, when you have a turnkey house or something of that nature, you know when the rehab was done. You know what state it's in day one. As you come in and you assume the security deposit, if you're getting one with a tenant in place, and you assume the tenant, you don't know exactly what the state was when they moved in, and you don't have anything to compare it to when they move out. So they could fight your desire to withhold money at the end, and they can just simply say it was like that when I moved in. And if you change the property manager in any way, shape, or form, you don't really have a whole lot to fall back on if they start pushing back on your desire to hold back money. It's really a protection for you to have this done. But the biggest thing that I always tell people is, look, you are buying a long-term asset. You want this asset to be in the best shape possible, and know you're going to hold it for years. So my question is, if you have an asset that you know is of superior quality, why would you hold off on buying it because it might be vacant for 3-4 weeks? In the grand scheme of things, that 3 to 4 weeks means very little. I'm not going to say nothing because it is cash flow you're not getting. But just think of it as a few $100s more on the sales price if you need to think about it that way. But the fact of the matter is, nearly every single property that is a good quality property in today's environment will get rented. Sure, during the winter months like we're in right now, it may take a little bit longer just because not as many people are moving in December as they are in, May and June. But who cares in the grand scheme of things? If you're holding this thing for, 60, 72 months and you miss, 2 weeks of rent, 3 weeks of rent, that return is not going to hurt you. We factor in vacancy, right? When you're doing it. So why worry yourself that much about not even bothering asking for contracts or asking for a contract of a property that has a tenant in place when you know it's been, rehabbed longer ago and that you're gonna have expenses come up sooner? Those 2-3 weeks could make the difference between, a water heater going out and not going out, depending on how long it's been. And that's gonna cost you significantly more than waiting 3 weeks to get a tenant in place. It's a trap I don't want you to fall into. I've seen it so many times. People have come to me and said, Adam, what about this property? And I say, well, that's not a bad property necessarily, but what about these ones that are in better shape? Yeah, they don't have a tenant in place, but they're the same price and they're in slightly better shape. In the long run, it's going to perform better. And they say, yeah, but there's no tenant in place. Well, it's kind of like interest rates. Yeah, it's there. Yeah, it's important in some ways, but it's not the end. It's not the thing that should drive your decision. Whether or not the tenant is in place or whether or not it's being marketed for the tenant. That's not the deciding factor that should be driving it. Sure, all things being equal, go with the one with the tenant in place. Sure, no problem. But usually when there's a tenant in place, things are not equal. And don't let that be the hindrance that keeps you from moving forward. Hope this video has been helpful. If it has, please click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really appreciate all the time that our growing group of people has put in to making themselves great investors. Go to renttoretirement.com. You can check out our inventory. You can schedule a time to talk with one of the investment strategists. We can help you on your way and figure out exactly what you need to be doing to move forward with your real estate portfolio. We can also help connect you with any real estate professional you could possibly need on your journey. That's what we're here for, is to help you out along the way. Again, that's renttoretirement.com. Really appreciate you watching this video. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought or ask any questions that you have. Or if there's any other topics you want us to cover on future videos. Really appreciate you spending the time with me here today. See you on the next video.
Thanks for watching the Rent to Retirement YouTube channel. Check out some of our other videos, like this one, or this one here.